Leaving?
Okay, but sure, you leaving?
Well, let's start moving things along a little.
Okay.
now. Okay, so I'd like to call the Town of Rochester Town Board audit meeting to order. If we can stand for the flag. Flag of the United States of America. Stands one nation
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We don't have our clerk here tonight, so I will be clerking, so I'll do the roll call. Let's see, Councilwoman Van Dial. Here. Councilwoman Smeetsa here. Councilman Coleman.
Here.
And Supervisor Fate, and that one.
Oh, you sold me right in.
I know, that was right. Supervisor Nowen, that's so, there we go. Okay. So the first item on our agenda is the acceptance of the agenda. So I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda as prepared by the town supervisor.
I'll second.
Any? Okay.
Oh, actually, wait, I just want one addition. It's really just a congratulations to the class of 2024 that's graduating tonight from Rondout Valley. Yay, good luck in your future. That's all I want to say. That's my only addition.
Okay, so I'll accept that as, I guess, I don't,
I just wanted to
just say it.
Yeah,
Just
I
say
just
it.
wanted to
Okay.
say.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay. So the first item on our agenda is to appoint a town board member. So I wanted to just sort of open it up first, though, to say we did receive another letter from an interested applicant, and I thought about that. But I did just for my piece, and I think we can all weigh in. At our last meeting, we decided that we both thought we had two strong candidates that we wanted to decide between, and that we weren't going to interview anyone else, and that we wanted to make that appointment tonight, so that we could get someone sworn in ahead of next week, so that we will have a full board moving forward. So that is how I, as the chair, am moving forward. I just wanted to open it up and make sure that you all felt the same way.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna just say I'm fine.
Yeah, I think, we discussed as a board how we wanted to make the appointments. We got, as you said, good candidates. I think it's important that we have a full board. It's obviously just finishing out the remainder of this year. So I'm comfortable with us working.
I agree. I understand the importance of it. I wish that we didn't have such a tight timeline and we could entertain all applicants. But I understand why the majority says that we have a timeline to stick to. So.
Yeah, okay. So with that, do we want to have any discussion, or should we just move forward and make a motion?
I'm fine with making a motion.
Okay.
Before just thank you to everyone that applied and interviewed.
Yeah, so we can do a motion in a second and have discussion if you guys want. So I'd like to make a motion that the town board appoints Renee Ciardi to the office of town councilperson effective June 25th, 2024 through December 31st, 2024.
And second.
Were we gonna say all the candidates? Like who is it between or no?
I was just gonna do it like that. Did you want to do it differently?
It's not. I was just curious. I forgot. I didn't know if you were gonna mention who the other candidates were.
Oh, well, if we, like, if you wanted to do, another way that we could do it is to entertain like nominations from the board and see who seconds those nominations. I thought I was gonna do it this way, but we can do it.
I'm fine with it this way. I mean, personally, up to the other people that do. Or I mean, didn't second a motion.
I'm ready to vote.
Okay.
Okay, so I wanted to just say as part of the discussion that for me, this was actually a very difficult decision. Because there were two candidates, Renee and Amelia, I feel like both would bring a lot to the board. And I hope one day that both of them can. For the purposes of this appointment, we are looking to appoint someone for a 6-month period of time and have someone who can jump in and help us do like these very, very pointed tasks that we have a lot of legislation before the board, and budget season is starting soon. And I felt like Renee's experience working with budgets and boards would allow her to jump in this work. And so for me, that was the point that I was sort of thinking on in making that motion. So
I like-minded. I also felt that Amelia and Renee were the two strongest of the candidates that we got to interview. And then Renee just kind of had a better edge that I think that she could kind of hit the ground running with us, since she's on the agriculture committee. She reviewed all of the zoning changes that we're gonna be reviewing and has had fresh eyes on it. So I think that it'll be an easy transition in her being on the board for 6 months. But again, yeah, I would have welcomed.
anything else? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Can I ask a roll call?
Sure. Councilwoman Dingyle? Councilwoman Smitha?
Aye.
Councilman Coleman?
Aye.
Supervisor Allen? Aye. Okay, the motion carries. Okay, and I will, see if Renee can get sworn in ahead of Tuesday. So we will have a quorum, otherwise I'll have to cancel. Okay. So I was gonna present the RFP for the courthouse, project to you tonight, but I did not complete that. So I'm hoping to get that to you, tomorrow, as well as to the justices, so that we can hopefully, adopt that, or put that forward on Tuesday. So it's a very short timeline, but, we did review that, that grant proposal. So I think we should all be familiar with the project itself. So, I'm going to table that, but hopefully be circulating that to you guys tomorrow. So you'll have the weekend to look at it. So our next item on the agenda is to review and revise the draft local law 13 and 14 of 2024. So this is going to be a little bit of a workshop on those, just for the public. And then when we complete that, we're going to talk about scheduling public information and sessions and the public hearing for those local laws, and then we'll do the voucher, the audit of the vouchers for June, at which point we will stop streaming. But all of the discussion that we're going to have about local laws and the zoning is going to happen while we're streaming. So I just wanted to make that clear. Okay, so I thought we could, would you guys like to start with the mapping, or would you like to start with the code?
I think the mapping, we should finish. I feel like we're not that far.
Great. Yes, okay, so I just emailed you a spreadsheet that Councilman Coleman made from the 3 or 4 spreadsheets that we had. So I had sent those, the 3 spreadsheets that we've been working on of all the SBL numbers and the changes. I had sent those to you a couple weeks ago, but Michael put them all into one spreadsheet. So the email that I just sent you is what we should be looking at. Do we want to put parcel viewer up, or actually, Michael, would you like to present your spreadsheet
Sure.
to us so that we are all looking at the same?
Let me get to the-
Does everyone have the spreadsheet open?
When you sent it, it's filtered already. Oh,
Um,
nobody wants to see that.
It does have,
Way too.
it does have a filter on it.
All right, so. Did I join? Oh, you have to let me on.
Oh, sorry.
Join. Don't want to join with computer audio.
These are just SBL numbers, right?
Don't want to join, go away. All right, share. Okay, share screen. There. Yep,
No, yes. There's a map up.
good map, all right. So, first off, what you're looking at here. So like Aaron said, there were 3 different versions that we had. And so if you go over to like columns A through K, well, you can't see it now because everything's filtered. So the filter is basically showing stuff that I went through, took notes on, that as a board, we kind of discuss what the rationale was and decided if we want to change it. So if you turn the filter off, you would see what we had done previously at each of the dates, 3/14, 4/17, 5/3. And then if you go over, because different people are taking notes in different ways, I have the notes from those 3 days. So you can kind of look at them, and they were pretty much consistent. There were a few things where people had written potential changes or recommended changes in the notes, but so all that's consolidated if you want to look at this.
And what we're looking at now is what we had not reviewed in those 3 review sessions.
Correct. So there were actually more than I thought we had done, but there were 132 parcels that we had not reviewed. So I went through, looked at each of them to kind of see why, to try and remind myself of why we had decided to do specific things. And there's a few things that I think we should talk about in terms of changes that we had recommended. So how do we want to do this? Do we want to actually look at it on a map and kind of assess? Because I don't, like I've said, if I think it makes sense to keep a change that was recommended. Do we want to kind of look at all those and see what we're talking about on the map, or what's the?
Can you just let us know what, when you were, because you also made notes on everything, when you are, what was your criteria for keeping the change versus saying So, where are you looking at?
So it kind of depends. In some cases, we had made a change because the parcels were not easily accessed. There were wetlands on them. There was a stream cutting them right down the middle. And so we were moving them more because they couldn't have the kind of dense development that would be allowed in some of the districts. We proposed putting them in something that was still allowed for development, but wasn't the same density. So like the top examples here, at the end of DeWitt Road, there's a wetland on one side of the road that cuts through a lot of the parcels. And so even if they're larger parcels, they still might not be able to deal with a dense 2-acre development on those parcels. In other cases, we had aligned parcels based off of if they were in an ag district, but they were being used for residential, we moved them from, in some cases, ag to a residential. So maybe from agricultural 3 to R2, which is actually increasing the density, but they're already in residential uses. So we're kind of aligning the district with how the parcels are currently being used. Or in some cases, we had parcels that were already smaller than 3 acres. They were, 1 acre, 2-acre parcels, but they were zoned as a 3-acre project, not being used as ag. So we had moved them over to an R2 in those cases. That make sense?
Mhm.
So what makes sense in terms of looking at this? Or do people want to, because I had a few things that jumped out at me and I wanted to get the board's thoughts on, and then we can have people review these, but they're kind of grouped in large areas. There's a bunch on DeWitt Road. There's a lot of stuff on Cliff Road. There's a lot on, well, there's few on Upper Whitfield. And then there's a bunch of stuff that was done in the hill area, Lawrence Hill, Rock Hill, and St. Joseph. And that's something I definitely wanted to talk about as board. So what, do we want to look at all of these kind of areas, or what makes sense? I'm just going to start doing it.
Charlotte.
Sorry, I'm happy to look at the ones that you have questions on for that you want to get the board's opinion on first, and then work from there. Sorry, I'm just trying to digest the spreadsheet also.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, thank you so much for doing this. It's very clear and organized. Emily, did you have a way that you felt?
No, I think that sounds good.
I think the only thing that I did want to look at the St. Joseph area, and Lawrence Hill, because we had gotten some public feedback about wanting it to stay in ag in some of those parcels. And then we had some questions at the end of one of our other sessions about the Upper Whitfield and whether and what if it was like more residential or more ag, and I wanted to take a look at those personally, but those are the only two that
Okay, so the first kind of big block here, which is
DeWitt.
is this group on DeWitt.
Yeah.
So just to orient people, and I got to a point where I started putting acreage, but I wasn't doing that. I kind of changed what I was doing. But one of these is 11 acres. But what I did do on this map is the numbers here is the acreage. So this is a 40-acre parcel. This is 15, just so we kind of have it. That's right.
It's very nice. I wish we'd done that before.
So this is the stream I was talking about. So really it's these parcels here along this side of DeWitt Road.
Yeah.
And what the proposal was they were R2, and the proposal was to make them rural 5. And so the rationale at the time was the stream kind of runs through the middle of these parcels. So if you want to look at this in terms of, say this 14-acre parcel is split in half, it's very difficult to develop this. So let's say, you actually have 8 acres here. Technically that would be 4. You could subdivide to 4. You could do, 4 uses potentially. But is this area with the wetlands and the buffers gonna allow that? Or does it make more sense to just have this be in an R5 area? So that was the thought. This side, I believe, is R2, this side of the stream. So this whole side is R2. And this whole side is currently R2. The proposal was to move it over to R5. And I think that's reasonable, but I wanted to get other people's thoughts.
Yeah, also think that's reasonable. They move it over to R5. Especially thinking like all the maps or so.
Sorry about all the
This
colors.
is so nice and clear. In this version right now, I think that that's totally fine. To leave it held the road as the divider with the R2 on that R5 on either side.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense for the landscape there.
and then this is the current zoning, so I'm sorry, I don't know why everything's pink. Well, I do, it's because I made it pink, but all that stuff that is color, like the 150, these parcels, this is already R5. So we're
Oh, yes,
basically
it's kind of
putting
different.
R5, because this is also a lot of wetlands here along Sundale. So instead of merging these R5s with the R2 district, they're going with more of this wetlands area here. Okay?
Yep.
I don't know how to notate these.
Maybe
Make them
turn
green.
them
For
green.
bow.
We'll make them just green. All right, this next one here, camp, Cherrytown Road. It's currently zoned ag. It's not being used for ag, it's being used for camp. So I think the proposal was R5.
Yeah.
Anyone want to look at the parcel?
No, I know what you're talking.
This is not a note of mine. Combined R5, but I wanted to look at it. I'm trying to remember why. Combined R5 comes out of this one big now. Oh, there was some that we did this where we made this R5 and it's a 4.9 acre parcel. So I mean, we're making it non-conforming. So all of these three, I just wanted to look at because I think they look like ones that the decision was made because they weren't being used in ag, so they're moved to R5. But I don't know if that's the criteria that the board wants to use.
I don't think that's the right criteria to use to decide to do something out of the ag district myself.
So I guess, do we want to look at each of them individually now, or do we I can flag them here and then people can go and parcel view with the individual parcels?
Yeah.
You mean do that later?
Do we want to do it now or do we want to do it later?
I'd like to finish the mapping tonight.
Okay, go look out. It's gonna be this exciting all night. I wish, is there a way to get this thing out of here without it having to wait for it to slowly minimize?
I think the other consideration for that one is it's not in a state certified ag district.
Here's where it's this one. On Queens Highway.
So is it,
Let's make it those weird colors.
it's because it's two different, that parcel is in two different districts. That's why it says combined.
Yeah, okay.
So part of it is R2 and part of it is R5.
All right, I'm just trying to figure out what is making this. Have some layer here that is big. Don't know where it is. Aha.
So that the parcel in question, that's 4.9 acres. Part of it is R2 and part of it is R5. And so the note is saying turn the whole thing to R5.
think that's what we were
Should we
suggesting.
make it R2 though, since we'd be making it non-conforming?
I think, yeah, I mean, it already, I don't know why it's split, but I feel like that. Seems like,
Oh, so, okay, so it's R2, R5, and we're talking about consolidating it. into R5. People agree with that?
well, Charlotte just recommended R2.
Okay.
I think it's sort of like,
Yeah, can you go back to the map for a second, Michael? Let's see what's
Yeah,
around
except that
there.
moved it.
the,
It's this one here.
so that the square part on the bottom is R2, and then the neighboring parcels are R2 on that side, and then when you go to the top, the long skinny part, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, so split that way. This is all R5, this is all R2. So we could make it R2 and group it with these. Don't know,
That's,
there's already a building on it.
I mean, it's kind of how I feel, if you have like an acre lot across the street, that's R2.
I'm fine with switching it to R2. I'm not seeing anything on the map where,
How should we mark the change?
you're logging everything?
Yeah, unless.
I would put it
There, that color.
red, okay, great.
Got it? So, looks like this is access from Doug Road. I don't know actually actually there may not be anything on this parcel. Yeah, there's nothing there. So this is just a vacant 8-acre parcel. It's about Bakertown in the notes, but
I'm fine with it going to R5.
Yeah.
It's with not really road access being sandwiched there. Makes sense.
people agree?
With that.
Want to say it again?
I'm just working on,
We love parcel there.
What else would we do? Otherwise, it just
Well, it's proposed to go R5 from here. If they can get access. I don't know, it's possible they're owned by these parcels are owned by the same person.
I'm okay with keeping the change. Emily, do you want to sit next to me? I'm doing the parcel viewer. I don't know if you want to look.
12.5 and right here. So this looks like another landlocked 12.5. That road access
Yep.
that was proposed
Yes.
to go from ag to R5.
yes.
Oh, sorry, from ag to R5.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, so then there's this whole section of Cliff Road. So
Mhm.
let's go to one of these. Cliff Road, because That's actually where we had that request to for development rights.
Open development.
Right. So these are a bunch of parcels up in this section here. Right on the edge of town. At the end of Cliff Road. And the proposal was to move them, but right now there are two. And the proposal was all of these, well, some of them I have to look at, so we'll look at those. So for these ones that were towards the end was to move them from R2 to R5. You know, when you think about density, think about emergency services access, plowing, maintaining roads. So these are kind of up towards the end of Cliff Road. And so that's why I think the proposal was to go to. I don't remember anyone coming and asking specific questions about these parcels. Most of them are smaller. So we have like 12, 7, 5, 4.9. There's 33 acre one. And then there were a few here that I marked as look at, and I think if I remember right, those were because they were closer to the bottom.
Yeah, the one that, yeah, the couple that you wanted, like that one.
I mean, I think that's fine staying in R5. Basically, we're saying all of this down here was going to be R5. And then I think there was one maybe down toward the bottom, could be this 22 acre one that I suggested we look at. Oh, it's a 33, it's a 33 acre one. So where's that? Lost it.
The one. Oh, just the one that you were just, so we were gonna look at the one that you said to look at.
Yeah, so
And-
this one,
That the first one is a 4.3. That's a 4.3 acre.
that's why I wanted to look at it, because
Yeah.
we make it non-conforming. And I don't know how we feel about it. Maybe it's fine. Not conforming. That was why I highlighted it.
Where is, what is the gray all proposed to be R5 at the? Or is there,
That is currently R2,
so what would the, okay,
and the proposed R5 is all of these would be proposed.
I think we should keep that one as R2.
I think so
The
too.
fourth grade.
I don't like being non-conforming for our lots. I understand the reasoning with like, when we first did it to try to make most of the areas match with each other, but
Hey, look at that, I made a note. Non-conforming undefined. Red in it.
Yeah, and it already has like a use on,
Oh, that should be.
R2. You could make, okay.
And then I wanted to look at this 33 acre. See that, non-conforming. So this one's 35. this big parcel there. The thing, if you wanted to leave that as R2, it would be contiguous with the rest of this R2 here. So this is all staying R2. So it would be contiguous. So if somebody wanted to do more development there, it's not way up at the top. I don't know. I haven't been up to look at that specific parcel. So
I'm fine with that.
as 5,
That's 5.
Aaron, Emily, to either of you.
Um, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think Cliff Road is when we start to get into the further side base of our mountain view on that and that our comprehensive plan talks about, so I think it, unless it's making it non-conforming, we should try to make them R5 or PL10 in that like strip of what changes we have to look at still.
Okay.
As long as they're not, we don't make something non-conforming.
Personally. All right, we're gonna go over to Upper Whitfield. Okay. So this one here, 8.2. And we were proposing R2 to R5. I think this was just more. I wanted to have a discussion about. Yeah, I mean, not in that little lake. I think, see, flash it.
Yeah, the buildings. No,
Oh, no, there weren't, but that's an, I'm
For news, see that big parcel.
trying to figure out how to turn off. See if I don't see anything on the image. Anyway, so, I mean,
The cross street.
it's Upper Whitfield and Cliff. Yeah. And then here's where there's like a split here. Bakertown and Upper Whitfield, right? Can you read the text?
Yes, I can.
So it's R2 now, we're proposing to go to R. So if it's R2, you could theoretically put, you know, develop 2 or 3 houses there. R5 is pretty much gonna eliminate the possibility of splitting it for 2 parcels. So I mean, to me, it's not unreasonable.
I think we should keep it R2.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Let's look at this. I suggest to keep this. I want to get you guys. So this is this big parcel here. It was proposed to go to R5. I think it's reasonable to keep that change. Right now there's developed here, so I think, you know, they could do a flag lot and maybe get 3 parcels here, but I think they can still, if they wanted to do a subdivision and do something back here, you know, having 5 acre parcels back there is reasonable, but I don't know what other
Yeah,
people think.
I think that's. If not owned by. I don't see why owned by.
Anyone else?
Keep it. Just
You can't hear me nodding my
I
head.
can't know.
I'll just move to the next one.
Yeah, the next one is the same non-conforming,
Mhm.
so we want to keep it's R2.
I would like to.
Yeah.
I don't.
I said keep this one. Oh, sell. I said to keep this one, it's 10 acres, it's got existing structures and wetlands on it, so I don't foresee it needing an R2 density, I think we can move it to R5. Like was proposed. You wanna look at it?
No.
It gets faster, like all of these at the end, we're not gonna have to go through all 100.
No,
This is like a philosophical thing.
Which one?
Like this whole grouping, where basically we have a bunch of R2s, or we have a bunch of ag parcels that were moved into R5. But it's already, it's a fairly residential area, so I think it's reasonable to consider whether or not some of those roads could be R2, and a lot of the parcels are already like 2 acres. So I think it might make more sense. But we can get that, we can talk to that now, we can jump around. So
Let's just focus
let's
on what we
focus.
were just,
Do you want to see this 10 acre parcel? I would recommend that we keep.
sure.
Oh,
Yes.
So here's the parcel. So it's got a stream running down it. There's already an existing home. So best case scenario, it would be a flag lot
You're saying if they were to subdivide.
if they were to subdivide. I don't know that they can make use of R2 density, so I think it's fine having an R5. If they want to subdivide, they could potentially have another 5 acre parcel in the back, but I think it was a reasonable change.
I'm not seeing any wetland.
Not saying what,
Wetland?
it could just be a small stream.
Oh. Okay. I think we can keep it.
Keep the change. And then there were these 3 I couldn't find in parcel viewer or on the map I had.
Oh, I found them.
Okay. So I don't know where they were, but in parcel viewer, I was getting like a null value.
Oh.
So let's,
Did they get subdivided recently?
it's possible.
That one, the first one came up instantly for me. 3.6 acres of vacant land.
So that seems reasonable to move to R2 if it's adjoining.
I mean, if you still, yeah, I mean, still can't subdivide it, so,
And unless it was bordering ag land or something.
I mean, the ag district is close by, but it is not. I think R2 is reasonable.
Were we on the one we couldn't find?
One I couldn't find.
Where
Aaron
was
found
that?
right away.
Where is it?
It's,
Mystery.
it's on Lower Whitfield.
Oh, okay, I was just wondering. if it's
Yeah, they should all kind of
Be in the same.
The next one is less than 1 acre and not being used in ag, so I thought moving it to R2 was fine.
The one that so the one you couldn't find, is that clustered with the other ones on that road?
Let's see.
That
Let
one,
me see
is
one.
that the neighbor? Cause there is no R2 on that, in that area. Or there is, never mind. It's very confusing because R2 and AR3 are the same color. Maybe your map is more accurate.
It's probably not. I stopped updating
Oh,
the data.
okay.
So we're gonna keep this one because it's 1 acre, and then I couldn't find these two. 69, 1-1-110,
Okay.
same thing with 200.
So, okay. That one is not coming up, but it's also maybe a formatting thing. Let's see. What happens when I die? What's the R2 to R5? Okay, I think that is a typo. I think it's supposed to be .1.
Did you find it?
When I did .1, I found. But we can look in the spreadsheet and see if the same thing, if we do have a .1.
So I don't know what to, I'll highlight these that we can't find them. Can you find a 200?
So parcel viewer was down earlier today. I was trying to get on it, like I couldn't get on just.
Well, some of these I got results
Yeah.
for, but they just didn't have any.
So I think that this one might be just an issue of it's not dash, it's dot.
But do you find it when you put dots?
Yes, for both of those. So if we could just put those in that notes, that,
Well,
because
so I
I-
can just change it here.
it makes sense because they're both in R2 currently, and they both have a lot of acreage. So, and one of them has like big wetlands on it. So I think that it just was,
I changed from dot 110 and dot 200.
sure. But could you highlight? Yeah, great, thank you. So I think that the proposed changes on both of those,
So you think we should keep?
I'm fine with that.
one of them has, yeah,
Do you want me to mark them as keep?
yeah.
All right, and then for some reason we bounced back to Cliff Road. And I thought we could keep these, let me just orient myself. Make sure it's spot. Wait. Can you guys see that, or does it look like I'm just
You have two first. Oh, this one.
this is still up in that the road area.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out why. On two of these. 38 and 30. Oh, you don't see that, see it? So it just looks like I'm crazy, but there's a thing here that is blocking where I paste the thing.
Oh, that's what you've been fighting?
Yeah,
the whole
so it
time? Okay,
doesn't,
you do
like-
look- You do look.
Yeah, because you can't minimize it. It has to like slowly I'm sorry.
Change the size of your window.
Alright, so there's this one, 735. Maybe it's not there, I don't know. Maybe I'm
No, it's, oh, I see it's a toolbar that keeps coming up on there.
back me up,
But it's not.
back me up. See, it's there, and then it went away. Alright, so it's that one, and so it's these two. And I think I was just thinking bigger. So these are proposed R2 here. And we could, I mean, these are smaller parcels. If you make them R5, you know, these two can't be subdivided, but you're still up towards the top. I still think it's reasonable to have them R5. I just wanted to point that out. So we're good with that recommendation. And then let me just do this last one. Oh, it's the same, I can just do that. So also. Towards the end. All right, so all of these over on Cooper Street, this one was pretty obvious why it was changed. So they're ag, they're A3, and they were supposed to go to R5, and it.
I'm fine with that too. They're all wetlands.
Yeah, but let me show you. Yeah, so it's this whole thing here. On Cooper Street. So that's why they were moved to R5. It's all very difficult to.
Yeah.
So we're good with keeping those? These four? Do you want to look at each one?
Um. They were AR3.
Yeah, they are A3 and then they were supposed to move to R5.
Can you go back to the map for a second?
You want to see what their current zoning is?
I'm just looking,
I'm just trying to.
I'm just looking at,
AR3,
I mean, they're in,
this is all R2.
Yeah.
So it's R2 on the one side of Cooper, and then there's some R2 along Cooper, and then these are all basically behind those parcels.
Oh, so these are those ones, those larger ones that are behind the R2s.
All of these, yeah.
But I'll have the road frontage.
and
Yeah,
they're
all flat
bordered,
lots.
they're bordered on all sides by farmland. They're not in the ag district, but.
This you're saying is farmland?
Yeah,
That's much.
Do I have the images? Yeah,
I'm
ag
inclined to
district.
leave them. Oh, so it's only that,
I would leave that big one,
the 42, or you mean the
the
56?
56, I would leave it as ag.
Yeah,
This one? Okay. Yeah, can you tell me that?
It's, dot 100. Oh, sorry, 69
No, I got it.
dot 1 dash 2 dash 13 dot.
But the rest of them, you want to keep the change? look at that again. Yeah, because these are all ag. I mean, this is the ag district back here too.
Yeah, so it's those four and that four.
Yeah.
I think we should keep that, actually.
And then thoughts. I don't know what's on it currently.
Trying to keep it at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep this all ag.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see.
These were, the next three were all small parcels on the mill hook that were not used in ag, I think. So I think it was these three here. Along Mill Hook. There's ag across the street. So this is the ag district here. And these three were proposed to go to R2. Yeah, they're proposed to go from ag to R2.
Mhm.
I think I'm fine with that little corner.
Mhm.
And two small parcels, same kind of story here on Lower Whitfield. I think it's these parcels here. So
Yeah, that should change.
they border ag, but they're all.
Yeah. Those should change.
And then this one was a duplicate, but I don't know. Is it possible there's two parcels with the same SBL? I don't know why it was listed.
I mean, you've
Yeah.
seen it,
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe
it's possible,
it
but
it could be that it's
but-
one of these other ones here.
yes, it is. It's the one that we just did, right?
Yeah.
It just, it's the same as the one above.
No, they're all different. Sorry. All right, look for one called acres, not acreage.
Wow. What are you trying to do?
There it is. There's one field called acreage, which is like out to like the 9th decimal point, and then there's one that's acres. That's like. Okay, so we are going to, I don't know about this duplicate, but we're keeping the changes for those small parcels. Next one, Old King Highway, it's 5 acres residential. I think this one was at the end of Old King Highway. It doesn't, there's no way to minimize thing. Do you know the secret?
So
So we're looking at this one. So this was going from A3, supposed to go from A3 to R2. Yeah, to R2. And I think maybe because it's not currently in the ag district, it's bordering ag, which may be why it got pulled into the A district, but and there's wetlands on it. So I don't know. I kind of feel like it can stay in the ag district.
I think it should stay,
Yeah, I also.
just because there'd be like an island.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to,
We also have to think about the neighboring uses.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking on your side.
All right, so I couldn't find this next one.
Okay, so that one is on Lucas, so it's with it's with the next one, and I support it keeping the change.
You support going to R2. So all of these were along Lucas.
Yeah.
Lucas is residential. They're all smaller parcels. So I think we can just kind of,
Now, the only thing to think about is we were, oh, hold on. What is that?
Can you scroll down to Lucas one's one?
yes.
I'm assuming the whole.
Yeah, these are parcels that border the ag district, but they're along Lucas, so we're not,
Oh, maybe these up here and then this.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely not. I just wanted to make sure it was, I was thinking. I think that that's fine to change those.
Okay, yeah, here's got right.
To R2, yeah.
yeah. I remember doing all of these.
So,
This is the definitely one I was. The Lucas to Kaiser, right?
so we're keeping these.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're moving right along. I think we got left for the audience at home.
Well, I thought we were, okay.
82, there's only 82
We're not
left.
going one by one, but we were feeling like we could just, but okay, great. So these are,
So I think all of these, we can look at them, but they're all, 2 to 3 acre parcels on Old Kings. They were proposed to go from ag to R2. So we want to look at one of them or what?
yeah, let's pull one.
Just pull one up so you can get the general.
No, it's just
I'm
80.
fine with that with like cluster. Look. No, it's 3.
So I think it's like this group.
Yeah,
here.
that one.
Oh wait,
I'm fine. We were on Lucas. So.
We're on old, we should be on old.
this is Old
Yeah, yeah.
King. So they were probably originally put in there because they border this ag district here. So they border farmland, but well, these don't seem like they have houses on them yet. Oh yeah, they do. Here's a house, here's a house. Here's a house. Here's a house. So I think moving them to R2 makes sense.
Right, oh, for R2, would we allow agriculture use buildings in R2? Like, would that be an accessory use for an R2 district or no?
So in all, so ag itself is a permitted use in all of our districts, because we're so in R2, the only things that are not allowed are the processing facility, the agricultural retail sales, which is like a store, tourism enterprise. Everything else is a principal permitted use, so agricultural labor housing, animal, non-animal.
Animal husbandry is allowed.
what was the specific?
Well, I just wanted to make sure, cause like with that large of a farmland and them being smaller lots, like I was thinking if someone bought those and made them worker housing, but then put like, say like an accessory building in the back end of the lots closer to the agriculture field, like that's already agriculture land, if like we were gonna make the process harder or something, you know what I mean? Like if they bought a someone who had the larger land wanted to like buy one of those to have as a residential and agriculture mixed use with the rest of the agriculture land there.
I think
If that
this would
makes sense.
actually make it easier.
I was gonna say, it sounds like it's gonna make it easier for that
Because
to
we have
happen,
more,
to make it more of a mixed
density.
agro, residential use, so.
so the agricultural labor housing is allowed, so the like barns are allowed anywhere because they're not considered a use. As long as you're not using them as a place where employees are working. So
Yeah.
they're, and
But it
then
would allow buildings that were used as employee,
housing.
Yeah, no, but
we-
employee working buildings too, like if it were.
So the agricultural processing facility, retail sales and agricultural tourism enterprises, those all are considered like higher density
Yeah.
uses, so they're not allowed in a residential.
No, I think that makes sense, then, I think that.
But everything else, because animal and non-animal ag are allowed, the way our code is written, that you should reasonably be able to.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, like, if someone wanted to do like storage in the back end or something
Yeah,
like that, of like equipment, like.
As
do
long as they
storage
have their
facilities,
setbacks.
Yeah, as long as, they meet everything else, but if they, extended and bought it to make it mixed use of resident, like live on.
And then
farm.
the other thing that okay, so all multifamily. We should change that, but okay.
I keep it then. For that little grouping.
Next one.
It was there.
It was
I
there.
seemed to.
So too.
She'll come back.
I don't know what we were proposing to do on this next one. This had something to do with splitting the road. So it's this parcel here.
Where are you at on the spreadsheet?
That's the
split one.
Yeah.
Oh, we spent a lot of time on that one. I think we should keep it.
We're only making it over.
It's split.
It's split. We spent a lot of time on that.
Oh, no, I was thinking the other.
Stony Road, already residential. Lucas, oh. So this is residential. I don't know how big it was, but we proposed going to R2. Right now, do it. Right, loading.
Oh, that's really anything to do.
All right, so this is the end of Stony Road. It's 4-9. This is already a pretty residential area. This is all developed, except for this parcel here. So I think we are moving this from R5 to R2 was the proposal.
Which one was, can you just cover over the,
It's this
that one?
At the end.
Does it have road access though?
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
driveway that goes down to Stone Hill. It might have just been because it's non-conforming.
Yeah, I
5
was-
acres. But I think we can leave it at R5.
Maybe we should leave it.
And the next one makes sense.
This one with Lucas, it's
Mhm.
just 1 acre, so we'll keep that.
Yep.
So it's 25 acres of towpath. Oh, so there's a bunch of ones on towpath that we moved out of ag, but I don't know if we could do that. But that's fine.
I don't think that we should. I think propose.
One. So this one here. So towpath is down here. And it's this parcel back here, it borders the ag district. But on the other side, they're on down. So we were proposing to move it out of ag into what did I say? Out of ag in R5. I think it's fine to keep it as ag.
I think it's fine to do it as ag. I think that that whole cluster is probably fine. to keep it.
Erin, do you have any thoughts?
I guess just looking at the acreage, I feel like that I'm just looking at the uses and I feel like keeping it in A3 for those parcels is probably the best thing.
For all of these? Or just that the larger one?
I guess I'm just trying to think about the impacts of changing the underlying zoning versus like what we're changing it to. So there's, none of these can be subdivided as they are. It's
Yeah,
just a matter of
No, I.
Uses.
the uses, and I'm just looking at the use chart and thinking about, um, I think there's so few differences actually. I actually think they should stay, just given the proximity and that area.
That's how I feel. Like, I feel like Towpath Road is a.
So keep these all in ag.
Yeah, reverse. There's like the main differences between the two districts is in R5, we allow camps and we allow like a educational facility. And those are the main differences between the two and the acreage.
I'm gonna say, I don't think we need those on Towpath.
Yeah, I think.
All right. So now we're getting into the St. Joe's and Lawrence Hill. So there was a lot of that area. I don't know why I bounced around like this, but a lot of that area, Lawrence Hill, St. Joseph's, was also ag zoned. And the proposal was to change to R5. And I think that's one of the questions. This is one of the areas where it is residential. I think we could consider R2. Because a lot of them are already smaller parcels, so I don't know how people wanna look at this.
Pull up the big parcel, the 20-acre one on St. Joseph.
I don't know, I feel like we got a lot of feedback about switching a lot of these out of ag, like.
That they should stay ag.
Mhm. It is very, there's like, well, I'm, especially in Lawrenceville.
This is the 20-acre one.
Oh, yeah, I think that we should stay ag. Also, I understand part of the thought process behind it. I was changing it to residential because that's the primary use, but for me, looking at the zoning, we're primarily an agriculture town. And not saying that residential isn't also important, but I think that we shouldn't change out of the ag district. We should promote that by keeping people in agriculture.
Well, yeah, I think,
For
to
these
me, I
areas
don't,
that are, you know, required.
I don't think St. Joseph should go to art.
And do you think it should go to R5?
We've got.
Right.
I mean.
I'm fine keeping it AR3. So you're saying the uses between AR3 and R5 are fairly close anyway?
Yeah, the difference is like, there's a little bit of a difference in what's allowed in terms of ag use. And like,
There's more St. Joseph's later too.
healthcare institutions, you need a special use permit. So there's healthcare institutions, camps. I mean, those are, there are very few differences between those two districts, that and the parcel size. We didn't rezone everything on St. Joseph to.
No, but we did, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I saw a bunch down here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 14, 15. We pretty much, a lot of that road was pulled into R5, suggested it.
Wasn't some of it suggested to be PL10? What did we do?
And we changed those to R5, anything that is.
Can we look, because I want to be, if we're closing this out, what did we change the back to?
So this was the proposed PL10. So it was only at the very end. This was the proposed R5.
And then everything
Well, why is this should have been, I don't know why that wasn't part, because this was the layer that we got. So where did that come up? Oh, that was proposed. It's interesting.
Stay there.
Yeah, I mean, these are the layers that we got from the
Yeah, I think.
Oh,
just-
right, we had a discrepancy in the maps.
Oh, yeah. I remember that now.
So the spreadsheet data and the maps that we have printed had a discrepancy.
but the spreadsheet is what we're going on. So I guess the question is, so it sounds like we're saying this stuff should stay ag. We're not doing any of these PL10s. These are gonna either stay, are gonna go R5, or do we wanna preserve the zoning as it was? Let me look at how it is as it was.
I guess,
Yeah, most of St. Joseph's current is there. It's gray. And then at the very end is R5. So it looks like what we had suggested was the R5 moved to PL10, which we're not gonna do. And a lot of the A3, the ag would go to R5.
The only thing I feel strongly about is I don't think we should rezone St. Joe's into R2. I feel neutral about R5 versus A3,
Well, and
unless I'm just looking, unless there are uses that I don't think there's any impact to, like, I guess it's just like the animal husbandry and the animal ag are the only things that we adjusted a little bit, but,
I think more just
Then keep
clarifying
it.
and like, I
Why
think that we
change
should
it?
keep them
Because-
all ag in that area. I think the uses of the difference between the R5 and the ag are uses that aren't appropriate for those neighborhoods.
oh, for the R5,
For the R5,
like
the few differences that you listed off before, I don't find that to be a good idea to be developed on any of that. Like the only, like, I mean, a school, not so much, but the other, like, to have a, sorry, I forgot the exact ones.
I
antique
agree
gift
with you.
store.
Not allowed on St. Lawrence, on Lawrence Hill, not by my book. Just kidding.
Yeah.
No, there was one that was, it was medical use,
Mhm.
but I don't find that necessary in the middle of a residential neighborhood. I'd rather have a farm, as a neighboring business in that area when it's already all surrounded by farm and agriculture use.
I'm gonna go run and get my jacket.
Okay.
I support whatever you all want. Are we saying we want to keep it A3?
Undo the paintbrush at Barnstone. Leave the PL10, I think, or whatever was not owned by, the deciding factor that we made for the PL10 as R5 for those larger ones that are on the back end, but I don't think that we should. I think it should stay, like, I know like what we were trying to do with the group zoning and like, I feel like that's the same thing I'm trying to advocate for here, like we shouldn't change that road's
I'm fine leaving going.
structure.
I think I liked, I like the end, closer to the end of that road being R5. And I guess I feel. Can you go back to the acreage map again?
I was gonna say, yeah, can we leave the acreage map again, because that might help. See if there's any that I. didn't
Absolutely. So let me turn off. So,
Yeah, I think it was everything was proposed to change? Or just the ones that were?
what was proposed was. Oh, so you're saying this wasn't what the map was wrong? So.
Yeah, but those two more.
So this was all gonna be R5, this was going PL.
Okay,
I
I think that one maybe. 11 acre one could maybe be R5 if it's. Let me see which one that is actually. Do you have that one listed out?
Yes.
That was in the best, I'm not sure.
I can do it.
I just wanna see. It's on.
I have to remember which one it's called.
I know, it's complicated.
It's called print key.
Oh, I can,
77.3-2-6.
Got it, yeah, that one doesn't have road front, yeah, I'm fine with that one staying. I think, it doesn't have road frontage, that makes more sense. Yeah, it's land.
I don't remember what.
I have it here, it's the 77.3-2-6.
This one.
keep change, oh.
Yeah.
Very
This-
good,
yeah,
Michael.
Very good job. Very good job.
But okay. So we're going to, the end of the road will be R5. And then otherwise we're leaving it as it was before.
That's what I'm hearing people say they would like to do.
Yeah.
Do you want the print key back up then?
No, I don't need that.
So,
I just wanted to find out
not
exactly.
PL10, but,
Right.
Yeah.
so these
Would be our,
parcels are gonna be R5.
yeah, so,
And that 11-acre one.
and that 11-acre one, and then the rest
And they
would
were-
stay AR. For
And they
acre.
were proposed, okay. So how do I do this? So we're gonna keep these,
We can put the
I
thing
think
back on and
this-
I can highlight that.
We know, we actually, it's just everything that says St. Joseph on your spreadsheet is gonna stay.
yeah, but we have to identify these three on the sheet.
We already did in the PL10 grouping. The filter is off.
Right,
The filter is off on those because we already
we
changed
don't,
them.
yeah, okay, good, okay, so everything we're saying that stays. Oh, this is gonna be big. It's gonna be a big one.
But the Lawrence Hill is the one.
So we gotta skip, so we're gonna leave this as A three, leave this as A. Skip over the Lawrence Hill ones.
Did you leave the board member?
Getting a jacket,
She's getting a jacket.
Oh,
cause it's chilly.
oh.
I should probably do that too.
Then we're in the next.
I wrote it down in the minute.
Johnson, so this one. This one. This one. Oh, wait, no, these were on here. Oh, no, these aren't the large ones, these are
Yeah,
larger.
those are the. What are those other?
Alright. Oh, so we have these Lawrence Hill ones.
Oh, I was saying the same thing. I wanted to undo that, but yeah.
You guys like the sound effects now?
I do, I enjoy.
So this one's in ag district. Can we propose moving it? Well, I think we should keep it then.
Yeah, I
Isn't that what we're doing?
No, well, it was supposed to move to R5.
Oh, yeah. So Lawrence Hill is the one that I felt, yeah, we got a lot of feedback about those changes.
This one. What's the trick? I did that already though. It's ignoring me.
I'll control alt shift H. Is what it's called. H, control alt shift H.
Some pressure. And this one's also in, so I don't know why either of those are. Alright.
Well, you know, my powers and how.
So we're leaving these both as A3.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees? Towpath less than 1 acre. I think I was just curious why we were making a change on this to an R5 district if it's less than 1 acre. You know,
Do we want, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Where is that?
This is on towpath and it's it probably got swooped up into this ag district. Here's Lawrence Hill.
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. Oh, it's right, which is the
Didn't we leave everything there to, didn't we just do that?
yeah, I thought that we were doing all the Lawrence Hill ones too, back to ag, not just Central.
This is, you're looking at Topaz.
Or no, sorry.
He's looking at Topaz.
Topaz.
We made,
It wasn't noted, so whatever we think we want to do. It wasn't in any of our notes, so what are you saying he wants to do? We haven't looked at this one yet.
the neighboring parcels
Yeah.
though were proposed to change from ag, and we just decided to keep them all the same.
Okay,
So.
so this is also staying the same.
I mean, I understand it's only 1 acre, but it's been that way, right?
It's currently AR3, so we're saying we don't want to change it.
We're gonna keep
Keep it
it A3.
Okay, that's,
Yes. And that's what we did on that road.
Yeah, we did all of that.
I don't know why that, it might have just been a weird.
I was gonna say that might.
So you're saying all of these?
Did we, well, we did the other side, we just did the other side of Topaz just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
yeah.
then there was a gap because we had a bunch of other
Mhm.
ones in between.
Yeah, and we decided that we wanted to keep them on
So I'm just gonna do that to all of these.
that.
So close, we've never been this close.
I know, we've been, no. Do we?
Proud of all of you for staying today.
Yeah. Are those the same dishes? Yeah, yeah, that's because I brought.
Oh, it's because they're donuts.
There was a free donut bowl, that's why. If I get people to a meeting, guys. Let 'em know. I got some Monster energy drink coffee that I'm probably incapacitated either one of you if you sipped it, but.
We good?
Do we do these?
Is there more on this?
Oh,
It's the same thing where they were,
Oh, is it it's the other side, we're on the other side of the streets for all of these now, okay.
yeah, so I think having them go, I don't know. Let's see.
I was gonna say that other side of the road, I told that water stream behind it, wet, it's not developed, the other section we did from like the four corners of Lucas. That we did before we changed those, like made our two.
This one, I think it's a bunch of ones that we so they're joining.
Yeah, we kept those other ones are too, right, that were.
All of this was
On the
proposed to
other
go
side.
to,
No, but I'm saying the ones that are on the other side of Allerton Road, those other four that were. You do it, yeah, pass them around. Thank you, Charlie. Charlie's efficient.
The ones on Lucas, we moved that were not in the ag district, we double checked. So I think I would, yeah, the ones along Lucas, we kept to the R2 change.
so we're gonna keep.
Okay, yeah, so that's what I was just making sure.
Do you want me to like look
Make
at
it the
this?
same, yeah. I just wanna make sure we were keeping it the same as what we did on the other side of the road.
I mean, I pulled up.
I feel like, okay. Or is this sorted by SBL number?
Yes. Oh, the sheet that you have in front of you? Yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay. And then,
And basically the next group of them, all the way down Clove Valley, Nutmeg,
Yeah, that's that whole like corner down.
We're all non-conforming R5 and we suggested making them R2.
I'm fine with all of that.
Yeah.
Sorry, this one I can track really easily because I live in this area off without the map. I'm like, oh,
So we're gonna keep these?
I think so, yeah. I'm fine with that, with it being R2.
I think, I don't know why this one was marked as PL10 because there's nothing current zoning in PL10, but this proposed R5, I think we keep it as R5.
Yeah, if it's privately limited.
All right, so we're gonna keep this. 1.6 acres on County Route 6. We proposed putting it in the R1.
That contiguous with our R1s, is there an R1 in County Route 6?
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so we merged it with the rest. Oh, wait. We merged it with the rest of these R1s around. Good.
Yeah.
Erin?
And then less than 2 acres alpha and R2 from R5.
But it's fine.
Very good. And then this, so same thing, Rock Hill and Lawrence Hill Road. This is the other like major thing where a bunch of stuff was suggested to move from AR3 to R5. Sounds like we don't want to consider R2, but do we want to leave that like we did St. Joseph?
I mean, I think as much as we can to like preserve, um,
Yeah, so there's this is ag district here. There's ag district down here. And I think it's a lot of these parcels here.
And you get like the waterway there kind of is like a natural divider, just switching over from ag.
I think that's where we got the comments though.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Do you remember, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know there's definitely one about that little one that is like the 2.2 acres inside of the 29.4.
I think it's fine to just not,
But leave it A3.
I'm just to orient myself on the road. So the ones, the big fields we were keeping. And then
which you're looking at, the ones that are already in ag.
the 29, yeah, those, the 29.4, those are all staying, right?
Hang on, let me just. So, yeah, these were proposed R5. They were gonna stay A3.
And then what was proposed R5?
This, all of this stuff here, current is AR3, and it's proposed to move it to R5.
They stay, just, chart. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So all this stuff.
Yeah.
I know I don't have to do it this way, but this is how I'm gonna do it. Feel better. Or-
Got it.
like a rhythm. All right,
That 1.6 on Lawrence Hill.
10 acres on St. Joseph's does not look like road frontage, so we're keeping that one. We talked about that.
Yeah.
1.6 on Lawrence Hill. I think we're keeping that. End of St. Joseph. That's gonna stay,
So the Lawrence Hill one is leave this complete.
all right, that, that. 5 acres off Lawrence Hill, I think we keep that E3.
Yeah.
And then we have these two
I do wanna look those.
Smaller parcels. It's not a shortcut.
Not
it's
actually a shortcut.
Spring. Plan for these two parts. So I think I was fine with keeping these, because there are 5 and they're moving on to
Yeah.
smaller than 5. So we're gonna keep those?
Yeah.
All right, we're done.
No. I just have one request.
Can you did you do any more updates did you have notes on stuff that we had gone over before?
What do you mean by those?
Go ahead.
Okay, I would like to, I just wanna make sure, one, that first property on 209 at the Stone Ridge side of town, that me and Mike went back and forth on and negotiated down to business agriculture, we reversed that back to regular business, right?
I don't think we've done that yet, but
Okay.
I think it's just the front part of it.
Yeah, the front parts has like a water entry, and that was Mike's whole point.
This one?
No, I think it's the next one, the 81, that's 81.
But it's just the front part.
Oh, it was a split?
Yep. It's just 9 acres, I think.
I don't know which parcel you're talking about.
That one right there, that says 81.
Right, it is 81.
Oh, this one.
Oh, cause only.
So the way it is now is it's AR3,
Currently it's AR3?
yes.
Oh, okay.
The original proposed was it would stay, but then what did we,
Then everything got changed.
this is all the old stuff, so it doesn't have our notes, so do we know the SBL?
I do, pretty key.
Like, can you go back to the maximum? I'm seeing this issue. Okay, I think I.
69.4-2-7.1.
(69.4-2-1.328).
That's not what I have on March. Is that the one on parcel here though?
I had .326 is the one in our,
328?
township.
Is that what you're saying? With these? So
Yeah.
it was B. We had proposed AB3 and A3, and our consolidated was to keep it B. So
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that we changed it back to regular T in the end. It's supposed to be, AB3 was like one of the middle of us doing the mapping decision.
And then the next one over was the split parcel. So that's the one. 69.4-2-1.326.
this one.
Okay, yeah, that's one.
So this was split B AR3.
Yeah.
It was proposed to go all A3. Then it was proposed to go AB3 A3. Are we saying you want to keep that?
AB3.
Yeah, remember there was the back part, which was gonna be the front part. Found some business uses. Additional business uses. It was, AB3 had more flexibility than making the entire thing. But
Oh, see, I
We
thought
could
we
leave it
agreed
be-
to that change. The whole property is AB3,
no,
not splitting.
we had split it.
That original parcel was B in the front and AR3 in the back.
And we proposed changing the B portion to AB,
Can we just revert to the original?
and it could be, then it would be BAR3.
Yeah. I think that's,
That's what I personally.
I think the issue that we were bringing up is that there's,
Water in
There's,
the
uh,
209.
which is gonna limit whatever can happen there anyway.
Yeah, and my point was they already use that as an agriculture entrance for. So like, we shouldn't limit it if there are. And then on your fancy dancy map. I would like. To see. Are you ready for the SBL number? So. Wait, can I do it that way, right? 69.3-3-16. I just want to see this area, guys, right, what the changes. Alright.
What did you want to see?
I want to see
Do you want to see it in the,
I want to see what is
Excel?
that whole area, no, I want to see what the whole neighborhood makeup of the proposed is. I think it's supposed to be
Oh,
R2 for all of there, right?
yes, well, this is all R2.
And what's proposed R1? The front one?
Oh, I bet that's,
We reversed that.
okay, yeah, this is community.
Yeah, that one's, yeah, it's the school there.
What else do you want to know?
Okay, can we just go to the,
So all
and we're keeping all of those as R2, right? We didn't change that?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you do A3, Michael, for us?
there's some in the back.
Oh, sorry, that's current.
That's fine, current's fine too. Can you run current for R1 or 2? Sorry. I'm just trying
Oh,
to-
man, too many colors.
It's all because there's probably not any in there.
Yeah, that's all A3.
Yeah,
It's all
right, it's
AR3,
AR,
and
sorry.
we reduced it to R2, except for those bigger parcels in the back.
So I'm just gonna, sorry, I'm moving the table for a second. For my property, which that's the SBL number for, it is not a full 2 acres, and I, again, at last will ask that it be R1, not R2, for my toothpick of a property that I'm already so restricted on from being next to the school. But you guys can do what you wish, but I wanted to make it clear that that was me as a public person comment, not to public comment. But I'm up with whatever you guys wanna do, I just wanted to say it again with the new configuration that's here,
What,
cause I have 1.8 acres. So I'm instantly become, I'm sorry, I don't want it to be clear that it's my property and I'm not making the decision, I'm abstaining from this part. It's 1.8 acres,
Well, we're
so,
doing everything all at once.
yeah. Which I get. Like, I was originally zoned commercial and I went through a zoning change 2 years ago. Cause I was zoned with the school,
You, R5, it was
or
R5.
it was R5, yeah, it was R5.
And what is the proposed change?
R2, but I'm saying I don't even have 2 acres, so in the R1, there's more options for if I want to use my property. That's all wooded and lined by a fence on the other side, and the other side of that property is my mother-in-law's. For that larger parcel on the other side, not that that matters, you know, for the whole, but that 1.8
Yeah, I
acre,
just-
I think it's just.
I think in terms of, I understand that's
Yeah.
your parcel. I think in terms of you advocating right now, it might be more appropriate to do that with like a letter for the public hearing, just because no other member of the public gets the opportunity to.
Oh, yeah, I
do that
understand,
in
okay,
this
fair enough, apologies.
And I feel like if it were blind, I would leave it as is, because that's what we've done on the other road, so we
No, I'm
will
totally
have
fine
a
with
public
that.
hearing. Does that make sense?
No, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, again, apologies for that, for not being able to speak, but just while we were on it, I wanted to look at the whole area, just to confirm.
Yeah.
While we were on the map, but,
I think we're done with the map.
yeah, we're done, get it out of it.
Was there,
So I just want to say, when I say we're done with mapping, we've now done a review of the mapping. We will now send letters out to the parcels impacted that will stay or whatever. There will be additional public hearings, additional inputs. It's not like it's done, we're gonna vote. Correct?
correct, so, okay, so for, what, for the public, what we've done is we heard a lot of feedback about the mapping changes. And I think, I'm not trying to speak for the other board members, but I think we all feel that a lot of the things that we had goals of doing in terms of like uses and zoning is like really achieved with the subdivision and the chapter 140. And there was a lot that we put in the mapping that we heard a lot about from the public that we changed back to what it originally was. So the biggest concerns that we heard were the changes that we made along the Route 209 corridor, which the original proposal basically got changed to what it is now. I don't think it's 100%, but it's basically,
Left it alone.
we left it so that it's business on 209.
So there was a proposal to extend the hamlet along 209.
And that got
was rolled back.
rolled
There were
back.
business parcels that had changed to residential that were, in most cases, left as business. But
Yes. And then we also heard from the new zoning district, the preserved lands district, which is a 10-acre district. We had put protected and state-owned and parkland, public lands in that district, and then we'd also extended that district out to like sort of like contiguous properties. And we heard from a lot of the non-state landowner property owners that they did not feel that that was like a fair change, and that they liked most of it was R5. Some of it was not R5, but most of it was R5. And when looking at the use chart and when looking at the land and thinking about subdivision and all of that, I think we felt that keeping those, we sort of blanket changed everything that was proposed to change to PL10 back to its original zone. So we just did that.
Does that mean, did mine get changed back then?
You had the business?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And so that was, okay, so those were the biggest changes. I'm saying that for the public because we've been asked to, I think a lot of people want to know what we've been doing. Then what we did is the board had, over the course of a year, looked at the entire town and was doing a lot of the stuff that we just did now, which was like, this is zoned for agriculture. Would it be better with residential use, which actually has more, there's like quite a bit more uses in residential in like R1 and R2. You know, just sort of looking at our uses, looking at the underlying zoning, looking at the acreage, looking at the neighborhood, and just doing like, is this right? So we did that, and then what we just did was we went back and we reviewed everything. We made the two big changes that we talked about, and then as the public just saw, we went through some of those other neighborhoods and the other areas to kind of see what had we proposed, and do we still think that that's appropriate, or do we think that we need to change it back? So that's what we just closed up. So for this draft local law, which is 14 of 2023. Oh, I had a typo on the agenda. These are called, this is 14 of 2023. What
Is the map.
is the map? That is what I have it as the agenda. So what I'm going to do is take the spreadsheet that Councilman Coleman is going to send to me, and I'm gonna have that made into a new map. A zoning map.
We're gonna send to the county, county's gonna make them done.
Okay, so then we will present that information at a public information session. I'd like to send letters to everyone that received a letter originally. So, and I'd like to explain if there was a proposed change and it's staying a proposed change. I want to explain that. And then I also want to explain, like, if you were proposed to change and then we're actually saying you should stay the same, I want to explain that. So I wanted to ask the board if we're ready to schedule the public information sessions, if we also want to think about scheduling the public hearing, or if we want to think about the timing of this and make those decisions on Tuesday.
I think we should possibly try on Tuesday, because we're gonna have another board member whose schedule we're gonna have to work around and work with to schedule these. Personally, I think I want to get them scheduled and to close out this process as soon as possible, but I would like to include them if we can, if you guys are okay with.
I was also, I'd like to get your availability, you two, before then, so we can think about that timing. And then I'd also can draft the letter, the form letter, and you guys can give me, I can submit that as part of the meeting backup. We don't have to pass a resolution to send a letter, but I can draft that, and if you guys want to take a look at it and give feedback, because I want to make it really clear to everyone, like, hey, this is why we initially made changes and we heard a lot of input and we took a look again, and this is what we're proposing now. There's going to be a public information session, and I'll leave that blank, and then we'll fill that in, and we can schedule both at the same time if you guys want. I don't, so that we can put both of those things in the same letter. It could.
Oh, I got you, yeah, so that we can have all the dates.
It would be a notice. We could do the notice and the note, like all of it in one letter.
And yeah, I like that. Yeah, also to have that.
So what are we proposing, like a weekend session?
Yeah, if you want to think about your calendar, what do you guys think?
Most Sundays are good for me. If it's Saturday, it'd be better if it was like after noon. But
Sundays are better for me.
What time period are we talking about?
Ideally,
I'm gonna be gone for a few Sundays. That's why.
okay,
Normally Sundays work.
yeah, I would really like to try to get this done. Ideally, we would be, if we, these are ifs, but thinking about the timing, if it was possible to have hearings in August, so that if everything was okay, we would be able to pass this August.
so we have the 21st, the July 21st and 28th are Sundays. Would those work? Are you gonna?
I'm on the 21st is the only weekend.
Oh, I am here the 21st, but
That's okay, you guys are welcome.
I'm gonna be gone July 25th through August 18th.
So
So August 25th.
let's do it before then. Can we do it Saturday?
Well, that could be a good time for the hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then do we want the public information sessions to be meetings like we did before?
I think it makes sense.
So
to do
that-
Yeah, so that we can stream advertise.
Okay, so the 29th is an audit meeting in August, so that would be potentially when we could have the hearings. Oh, August is funky. Ooh, we're gonna have 2 weeks without a meeting in August.
Which dates?
So currently, which this is like horrifying to me, our first August meeting is August 1st. And then, so that makes our workshop meeting the 8th. And then that makes our audit meeting the 29th. So we could do something.
I was gonna say, why don't we look at that schedule on Tuesday too?
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to get, I mean, you can also email me.
Oh, that's right, you guys.
Any
Mine's
Saturday
all for
works.
one period, so I'll just give you that chunk of time.
Okay.
I'll be gone, and then I'll be.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then any Saturday works for me, afternoon, and any Sunday.
okay.
So we can
When you're
go
back,
for it.
when you're not out of
Right.
town, or not away, or
What else? Like,
not otherwise. Okay, I'll be here. Okay. So, and then, okay, all right. So any Sunday. And
can take like
would, if we were to do, 2 info sessions, so we had one during, because I'll get the dates for the mailings, because I want to give people time before the info sessions. Like, I don't want to send them out and have the info sessions be like the next day.
I could do Friday evenings, Thursdays are bad, or if we have regular meetings. Monday evenings potentially could work.
Mondays, as long as it's not the third Monday, are really the only nights I can also.
Right. So Monday evening would work.
I can make one work that's not a Monday, but that's. As long as it's not the third Monday of the month, I can make a Monday work. Like,
Okay, this gives us good stuff to go off of, but we'll make those scheduling decisions on Tuesday. So that we can get notice out. Yes.
We're gonna. Are we going on to local law 13? Erin, can we take like a 3-minute break before we switch over to the zoning code so I can?
Sure. We don't have a phone.
I know, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if we could take like a. quick break,
Yeah,
so
sure.
also-
Oh, did we not have quorum anymore when I left?
No, we didn't.
No.
You're fine. But with those two gone, you and I can't make any decisions.
Fine.
Okay.
You guys didn't have to stop talking.
Okay, we took a little bit of a break, 3 minutes.
You time me?
I also left.
I think actually it's more than 3 minutes for you.
That's pretty good.
But. Okay, so, the zoning code. I didn't get any submissions from any town board members for anything else. So at our last meeting, it was 11:36 and we decided to stop. What we talked about at the end, we were just sort of trying to go through the code again and just, is there anything else we want to change? And at the end, I said something about how important it was. I thought that we should get it done. And everyone was like, well, we all feel pretty comfortable about passing it. And so I wasn't sure if anyone went back and looked and if there was anything else you guys wanted to incorporate into this round of changes, or if you want to move forward with it as it is with we made edits. And I'm sorry, I have them in this document, but I've had a hard time with this PDF today. The changes we made last week is we're deleting that little section that regulates farm stands.
Mm-hmm.
You guys had said that maybe we should delete the definition, but I actually think we should leave it in because it's an accessory use. And that just defines the size. And then we don't have to talk about it in the code. It's in the use chart. We updated 140.14.1 to just the language we updated a little. So We split out the section of, sheltering animals so as to maintain, sorry, for some reason that my PDF is like frozen. But we split out like the idea of sheltering versus fenced, because we thought that that made it clear that animals should be kept on the property. And then in the next section about distance between residential structures, we made it slightly different so that we made the larger 150 feet for enclosed hoofed animals, and then a shorter distance for poultry. So that was something we talked about a lot. And then manure storage, we actually, in the code, it only had 200, in our proposed code, it only had 200 feet away from the water. So we made some distances for residential structures and from property lines. Then we deleted the planned unit development chapter. And that was what we did last time. Is there anything else that you guys would like to change, or are we ready to do the same thing with that and schedule a public hearing for that next week? Or do we want to delete the special commercial events facility?
Well, I know one thing I wanted to look at was the solar buffer,
Okay,
because I think it was at like 200. Somebody said 200 is a really big buffer. Could we do like 150 or 100? I know you had mentioned wanting to talk about commercial events. I don't know if that's something, like maybe that's something we just do as a larger. There's a lot of implications of that, and maybe it's something we should pass as is, and then immediately start looking at addressing some of those things. And the only other one, which I don't think I'm on the same page with other people about, is the conversion of seasonal rentals. I just didn't make sense to me as from a density perspective. So, like, we gave a density bonus for converting of seasonal rentals. I thought we should still adhere to the density of the district.
I'm fine to look at those things, like I'm happy to look at those few things when it's the city we want to. The only one I have a different opinion on is the seasonal camp.
conversion.
Just because I have been looking at, I've had some talks at housing, events with affordable housing developers of all of the like creative ideas for all of the seasonal camps we have in town, that I'm happy to pass it as is and then like circle back to it. Or if Michael wants to like type some more and then circle back to it afterwards, I can, but I'm happy to talk that one through. I also am just so bored just deleting commercial event spaces and camps and hotels from the code.
I completely agree with that. I think that
Proposed.
that's come up multiple times. Yeah, we talked about this last week, that is what is consistently in what everyone's feedback has been that I've experienced or read. Not everyone, I shouldn't say, but the vast majority of the feedback is about density and traffic and noise and sound. And I think that the whole point of going over the code now is to do it now and not later. So that's the loudest feedback and the most consistent feedback I can hear. And I feel like now is the time I would agree with Charlotte that we should consider just limiting those uses. Unless there's some major thing that we're missing.
Okay, let's start with can we start with solar? Because
Yeah, no, I was gonna say start with
like,
like most easy list or.
because I would say if you're close, if you live next door to a solar, there was a reason why the setback was increased.
What, do
Because
you remember what it was
Yeah, that would be helpful.
or what it currently is? I can look. Yeah.
Um, I guess. I don't know which comment I don't know what you're referring to. Michael,
So this was brought up at one of the info sessions. And the comment was, does the buffer, I think the buffer was 200 feet, having a 200-foot like tree buffer or vegetation buffer. The suggestion was, could it be smaller? So I'm wondering if
Okay.
it was 100 to be 200 and the compromise would be 150. I don't feel strongly about it.
I will read what I think it's referring to.
There's some solar, is a lot of.
So special use permit standards, height and setback, the height of the this is just for large scale. Large scale energy systems shall not exceed 15 feet when oriented at maximum tilt. Setback requirements shall be a minimum of 250 feet from the property lines or 2 times the standard setback in a zoning district, whichever is greater. Setback shall be inclusive of screening and shall be measured to the edge of the solar panels. So that's, you're talking about that it's not like the fence and the screening can be in between.
Right. So I think that was the comment. Again,
All inverters shall be set back a minimum of 150 feet from the property lines or until electromagnetic field meets background level as determined by the World Health Organization, whichever is greater, and shall preferably be located in the interior of the solar system.
So I think that was the question, was 250 feet. Is that excessive? So I think we said from door to here is like 30 feet. So 5 of those would be 150. Is that math? So like
Yeah.
5, like how, if we want to encourage
How
solar,
close do you guys want to live to solar panels is the question you should be asking yourselves.
Yeah.
Because this is not neighborhood solar. This is not like a community. This isn't like,
Yeah, this is a solar farm.
this is what we have in the town. And I can't remember what the setbacks were, but, it's like, it's a big, shiny, reflective industrial thing, which I think is great, but we're talking about like living right next to that. So it's about protecting the intrusion of an incompatible use.
I say keep 250.
Okay.
Personally,
I'm fine with that. It's not,
I don't, because also it's.
I'm not installing them.
Yeah, I just feel like if there's a lot of here's my thinking. If you live in R1, you have side yard setbacks of what, like? This document, it's not that much. So the way it was written is like, if you have a small parcel and you live on that, like close to your property line, you could have that right next to you. There are people that maybe have like hundreds of acres and they would be bordering it and they would never see it. But I feel like by not having these setbacks, we impact, our middle income, like residential. That's what I think the impact would be greatest in. Do you see what I'm saying?
I think it's reasonable. I think we can.
I guess I was on a little bit of a soapbox, but I think it just protects people who live close to the property line. And I think that.
I'm fine.
They often have to put up like barbed wire fences. I mean,
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think we agree.
I was moving on.
okay, sorry.
I was moving on.
Okay, I'll move on. I'll move on. Okay.
I'm also fine if everyone is comfortable with the conversion, with the density bonus for conversion of seasonal. If you,
Well.
I mean, I feel strong with that,
Feel
but
strongly
it doesn't,
about it.
it's not something that I'm,
Okay.
I don't think it's a major
Maybe
risk.
we can work on being more assertive and direct with our communication. We're gonna look at
I
it.
disagree strongly with all of you,
And,
but whatever.
But it's not your moment.
okay, so are you referring to section G of lot development standards? Is that what it is? Yes, section G, so we're lot development standards, section G, which is page 68. Conversions of seasonal residential communities. We did not make any changes to this section in terms of density bonus, so maybe,
But there is a density bonus. There's
No.
an existing density bonus.
there's not. So we need to look at multifamily residential uses. So basically what this section of code does says that you can convert seasonal communities into permanent single-family, two-family, or multifamily dwellings. Conversions of, so the new thing that we added is conversions of seasonal residential communities to multifamily structures shall fully meet the standards of 140-26 multifamily residential uses. Okay, so we'll have to look that up and see if that's has something, but the number of new dwellings permitted shall be limited to 50% of existing seasonal residential units. In the case of new single-family dwellings, 65 of existing seasonal residential units in the case of new two-family dwellings, and 80% of existing seasonal residential units in the case of new multifamily dwellings, provided that any such property shall be entitled to no less than would otherwise be permitted within that zoning district for a new use of the same nature.
Are you saying there's no density bonus?
There,
And I'm imagining this?
you are not imagining it. It depends on how many existing seasonal residential units are on the parcel.
Mhm.
So I don't know how many we have that would be more than, but hypothetically, you could have a 2-acre parcel that has 5 seasonal homes on it, and if you wanted to build single home family dwellings, you could do 2.5, so you would get.
And it's converting those existing, it's not
Yes.
knocking them down and building.
Correct. So you could, there is a density bonus, but it's like using the buildings that are there.
Yeah, and I mean, to be clear, I do support density bonuses for multifamily and providing additional housing. It was really the idea of converting, because a lot of these defunct or older camps, they're in disrepair. The idea of converting those into livable spaces seems challenging to me. So I would be inclined to say, okay, remove those and put new multifamily housing there with a density bonus and try to convert these old. But it's fine. I mean,
So
I-
what would your proposed language sound like? Cause I'm just having a hard time
I would just say,
imagining.
if you're converting seasonal units, you can convert them, but you can't exceed the density. So if it's a 2-acre or if it's a 10-acre lot in R2 and you have, 7 seasonal rentals, you can still convert 5 of them because it's,
As opposed to,
As
right
opposed
now,
to
you're
getting-
allowed to make,
you're allowed to make, I can't remember the exact.
it's at 1 point.
Wait, I'm
If you
sorry.
have 5, and then you get 2.5, so you can convert or like redo the 5 and then you get, right?
No,
No.
maybe this code is weirdly written. I'm,
It sounds like it is.
I'm reading new as the new permanent, not new buildings, like, so it's, they're currently seasonal, they're not permanent dwellings, they're not, year-round permanent housing. So there are, you know, you could have like the fireman's camp or something. It's like really dense. So if you were to develop that today with permanent housing, you would be restricted to the underlying zoning, so like 1 house per acre.
Mhm.
So what this is saying is if there's a property that's seasonal like that, and it's more dense because it's seasonal, people aren't there year round, the use isn't as heavy, then it lays out that you could do 50%. So it's based on the number of existing seasonal dwellings, not the density, as long as you get the density.
And Michael, you want it to go back to just be what, I'm leaning towards your side, this, I
Yeah.
just want, and I wanna make sure I really understand. That was helpful, that clarifying language, but Michael, and then is what you're saying by contrast would be you're limited to what it is. If it was a seasonal camp and now it's, you're just restricted by whatever the zoning is in that area.
Yeah, and you
Doing
can
something
convert them to full-time residences, but
But
you
only
still,
some
Within
of
the
them.
zoning.
yeah,
code.
yeah, you would only be able to convert as many as are allowed in that district.
And what's the I don't know, I actually think that makes sense, especially, that sounds more consistent with also. I don't know,
I mean.
what's the problem with that?
So my concern, the reason I bring it up is I don't know the, so I don't know how many of these potential former seasonal rentals are around town that could be converted. And so there could be one with like 200 somewhere, 200.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I'm
freestanding cabins.
nervous too, we don't know, let them apply and let them go through the zoning process.
So that was why I brought it up. Now, the alternative is we need housing and there's a way that you can do it and you provide a bonus because they're turning these, you know, existing structures that are in decent shape into housing, you know, that's valuable. I just don't know the impacts of that. But the code is the way it is now. We didn't propose changing. I proposed removing some of that.
At the last call, for the last call, for proposed language.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's confusing is it's talking about conversion, and then in 3, it says the number of new dwellings.
Yeah.
But my take on that is not new build, it's new permanent dwellings.
I mean, we could change it to
That
converted
clarification.
ones.
Because they're a different use in the use chart.
I'm wondering, this is something that it's not like, you know, like a subdivision where it's something that gets applied for and happens very often. As we know, like it's in our code, but it's very rare that this actually comes before anything in town and one of these gets bought and someone wants to convert all of them, right? I think that if we're comfortable, if Michael and the rest of you guys are comfortable leaving it with the language in there, but knowing that and like putting it through with that, or if we just want to remove the changes that we made and leave it as the original and then circling back to it, because I don't think it would be a hard edit to do as a separate thing after this whole process is over at the beginning of next year or something. Like, I think that that's an easier one for us to sit down and find like exactly what the right language we want on it.
Yeah.
Is later
Can
on.
we add one clarifying word that just says what Aaron was getting at?
Change the new dwellings to converted dwellings.
Yeah, or, yeah, like new permanent dwell.
Yes, maybe instead of new dwellings, it's
Change it.
permanent or all season.
Seasonal dwelling.
Yeah, I just think we need to know the
Permanent.
impacts because there are definitely areas of town that become very popular in the summer. There's more traffic, there's more, you know, people on the roads. And then if we're talking about that potentially converting into a permanent year-round thing, when you have school buses and you have different traffic patterns, I want to be aware of what we're doing. It hasn't come up. It hasn't been a problem.
I mean, I think,
But like, I don't know the change in traffic when the firemen's camp, I don't know if there's major
Oh,
change in
yeah,
traffic
there-
when that's open in the summer. But now you're talking about, okay, that could be a permanent year-round thing. I just want to have,
I feel, yeah, I don't know. I'm really sensitive to the traffic stuff. We've heard a lot of people say it's similar, but we're on voicemail and 209. So I get the camps from behind us over on Samsonville, off Samsonville, we have the camp. And we have Kelter Farms, there's just, I feel like there's traffic either direction that's seasonal, and that's fine because it's seasonal, but for me to imagine that being a more permanent thing would be, I don't know, that's just where I am, and I'm on a busier area. I can only imagine how that would impact people who are in a less busy area, having like a 300% camp.
I think that potential traffic, me personally, is not the thing to base a decision about these off of for a long-term rental impact.
Yeah. Okay.
There's been some projects approved from this board that there was high cry about traffic about that I feel like wasn't taken seriously for us. So for us, for something that isn't even before us to like traffic impact to be the determining factor seems wrong.
Well, I think it's more about there being an unknown impact and it being like, should we just?
So one thing that I think we should also just like hold is we have a housing advisory committee that is about to get funding to do some studies on identifying parcels that could be key development sites for things like this. I think that this is something that we all are passionate about and we care about. And I don't, like what Charlotte was saying, we're not gonna solve this tonight. And I think that if you guys wanna clarify that part, because I really don't think it's talking about new buildings, it's talking about converting an existing building, and it's capping the amount of what you can do based on the existing structures. We can do that. Just so you know, when there's a multifamily residential use, it is a major subdivision. So it is not like this is easy. So by adding what we just added, it does go through like a rigorous review process. So, if anything like this were to come up, there would be, if it's considered, it has to comply with that.
it's planning board too.
Okay, I see your point. I think it can't hurt to add in a clarifying language.
I would like to clarify it. Too.
Okay,
Let's
so,
just do it.
So just change it to the converted units or whatever it was.
okay.
Yeah. Converted.
The number of new dwellings permitted, so we're gonna say, instead of that, we're going. Yeah, they're all subdivisions. And special uses, which means it's,
Planning.
this is why this doesn't happen too, you guys, like. Because
Yeah,
you have to
so
be a
I-
developer.
I think this is a bigger one that we can also ask the housing committee to do a review on for us. Like, we can like put it through as is and then ask for some feedback from the housing committee on suggested language or changes to make it not only, not as crazy as a process, but to make it obtainable, but make it make sense for our expansion.
Okay, so we're saying the number of. Permanently converted, let's see,
Yeah,
maybe converted to permanent single, so we're gonna say the number of permanently converted dwellings permitted. And then, on number 4, it says new dwellings and other improvements shall not further violate any, okay, I think that's
So
fine.
converted dwellings.
Yeah, I think it's also saying, so the example we're talking about is like a 2-acre parcel with 5 structures on it. It could be a 100-acre parcel with 10 structures on it. So I think this is also saying if there's a bigger project at play, everything combined. So I think we also, there is like permanent other improvements and other new dwellings can't violate, like you're not getting a bonus if you're building a new dwelling
Yeah, you can't build a new
unless you have,
building.
unless you have the
It's strictly
ability to do.
conversions, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's either demolition of new building or conversion, it's not.
Yeah, but if you had enough, it's not like you can get more if you have more land. It's unless you have enough land to.
Yeah, I see. what
I'm
you're
just saying it's,
Yeah, it's not
So-
very well.
So if you have a 100-acre parcel with 50 buildings, normally you would only be able to turn 20 of them. Currently, you're allowed to turn what, 20, 30, 25, 30? No,
if it's single
that was
family.
50% to be able to do 30, right?
You said 50,
50,
that's
you
25.
would be able to do, oh, it's 50% of the total.
Mhm.
It's not a 50% bonus.
No, it's 50% of
It's
the,
just pretty much where it's actually the
of
opposite
the
of a
units.
bonus, you're getting a
You,
50% reduction.
But if you
well,
had,
sort of, I mean,
if
it's,
you had 100, you'd be able to do 50.
yes. And but the thing that I was trying to say is you could also have a different situation where you have 100 acres and you have 10, you can only do 5.
They go 100 acres.
So
Yeah,
it's
there has to be
saying,
some wording that like the zoning, like. the
oh, but you're
density-
entitled to no less than 6, so that's fine, never
You
mind.
could build more.
Okay, so you could build.
Or
up
you
to
could
your
convert them
density,
all if you had the acreage. So you're capped at,
50%.
yeah, if you don't have enough.
I think that's fair.
Okay, I think we have clarified this. New changes,
So you want to talk commercial again?
sure. So this came up, I think I brought this up last time, and then Emily also was talking about deleting uses. So the commercial events facility was written to allow for like renting out a property for like a wedding, like that's the purpose of, but it has turned into like a
Type of.
concert thing. And I think we all are feeling like originally our proposed changes was to take it out of all the districts that it's in, which is like you can have a commercial events facility
We were,
now.
well, we were removing it.
Yeah.
from-
That's what I'm saying. We were removing it.
Like
And
it's,
then-
it's allowed in R2, right?
Okay, everything but business. Can we just move it to that?
And I have a question, I don't know if this was addressed. The people who already have it going, they get to keep doing it.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah.
moving forward. That's this, then I'm,
Yeah, so 140.
I would also like to do.
And the other thing,
yeah, I wanted to.
the other thing technically you can do is just remove it entirely from the code.
That's what we're
Yeah.
saying.
That's what we're saying we should do.
But you're saying,
That's my proposal.
you're saying
our
delete the entire section,
The
not
whole
just
thing
remove. the
gone.
use.
Got
Okay,
Fine, so then if anyone actually wants that, since it's undefined, it has to come to the town board.
well, and then if we wanted to revisit it,
We could,
we could go back. and
but for
use
right
that.
now, it's a null and void point.
So the, just what we did make a lot of changes to this section. But we're saying, do you guys wanna pull it up and make sure, or do you wanna just leave it?
I appreciate the past versions of ourselves that sat here and made those changes, but I think we should do it.
Yeah, as a person that was not here doing those, I respect all the changes you guys made and will defer to you because you obviously considered it. It was, really intensely, but yeah, after everything I've heard, I think it's better just to get rid of it
So we
from the code.
did put a 2-year duration with mandatory renewal review. There's only one review,
We capped it at 500
capped it at,
people.
but you still haven't.
But it's also, this only applies to new
Yeah.
permits.
Yes,
It
But I
doesn't-
think that there's enough. Myself.
That's how I feel. I think that if it's something that is creating a big issue every time it comes up and everyone's coming out against it, it's done. It's just, we're done. We have a lot. We'll deal with the ones we have and then
People can ask us to
we
consider
can
putting it back in.
revisit.
I'm fine striking.
Okay. Okay. What was the other? Hotels?
So
I don't want to delete hotels, but
want to?
I mean, that we have
I don't
enough large hotel buildings that have already had that as the active use. Like the existing ones we have in town need to be used for that. We don't need a new hotel being built in town that's so many stories tall. We have a giant one you can see from 209 that could be sold and renovated if someone was motivated enough to have a hotel.
oh, I
You
see.
know what I
We can delete hotels.
Yeah.
They're only allowed in business with a special use permit, but I think inns and bed and breakfasts are.
Yeah, and
I
we
think
should
that's, no,
add-
I think just strictly hotels, like where like the Hudson Valley Resort or the Pine Ridge or like the Nevele in Ellenville, like those large scale resort hotels is what I'm talking about.
And I do think that requires us to maybe define like inns as a smaller hotel,
There-
or maybe.
Yeah, there are, there's room
I
caps on
look,
them.
is there? I
In the
thought I
new
looked,
Once,
I
right?
didn't
Didn't
see
we have
it.
room caps on the
but
new
maybe I
one?
was looking at it version.
Yeah, we,
Sorry, you finished.
okay.
We definitely have inn and bed and breakfast.
We have it defined, but I didn't see room caps on it, but I may have been looking at, the wrong version. If there's not, we should. If there is,
Well, bed and
then I say
breakfast-
delete hotel.
Bed and breakfasts are regulated by,
Yeah.
so the thing about inns and hotels, motels and bed and breakfasts is they're not, there's no chapter of them. They're just defined and they're allowed in the districts.
So we can just take it off of the chart.
Yeah, just take it
We're-
out of all
We would
the
delete
zone.
it and take it out of the chart.
Yeah.
We wouldn't make them,
No, it's not that they're
prohibited.
illegal, but I think that if a brand new one is to be built, it should be made by the people elected from the town to decide on, like, I don't think that. It should be something taken lightly, that the public can't have the scrutinizing eye over.
I think it's also responsive to issues that we've seen in the town. It's not out of nowhere.
I really appreciate, I just wanna say Emily's point of view and her perspective after these zoning changes on this, like, I know we work very hard on some of these things, but having someone else's eyes that wasn't in this for 2 years straight, looking at it and coming back and being like, so these are the biggest 3 reasons, and shouldn't we just get rid of them then? So I just appreciate that fresh perspective on it, because I agree, and I'm mad I didn't think of it too.
okay, so,
It sounds extreme,
They-
but once you
No.
see that it's only limited to these places.
Yeah,
we're doing all
we-
this work to try to make it impossible to build, and it's like, let's
Yeah.
really do it.
yeah. So hotel motel. I mean, they're really, I guess. I don't know how to handle it in terms of like closing up or the zoning. I think we can delete it, from the use chart. It's not listed anywhere else. It's not anywhere else in our code. And then an inn. So a commercial building similar in size to a residential dwelling, operating as a small hotel that provides lodging to travelers and may provide food and drink. So a hotel could include recreational facilities, but an inn would be,
But similar to a residential size, that's the key for me, is that I don't, if it's a smaller, like the Allen Rock Inn or this, even the Starlight Motel, the smaller, like more micro size travel places to stay, there's also plenty of Airbnbs in this town for people to stay in. We don't need another,
well,
in my opinion.
my take, I have a slightly different perspective on that, which is that one of the reasons why we have so much of our housing stock being used is because we don't have places like inns and, you know, motels, you know, you know,
Yeah.
like the Starlight, and bed and breakfast. They're much more expensive to operate because a lot of laws went into effect to make those uses safe for travelers. Like a lot of the regulations of having, needing health department approval and all of that is for safety purposes. But then, you know, the gig economy sort of got around that and then took up a bunch of our housing stock. So I personally don't like the idea of just like outright discouraging these businesses, because I think it's one of the reasons why we've lost a lot of our housing is because we don't. So I think in terms of like inns and bed and breakfast, like, I think, you know, they can also have a positive impact, I guess. is what I'm saying.
No, I think inns and bed and breakfasts are, I am fine with that. I'm talking like on a large commercial, like strictly like a Nepali-esque building,
Right.
a high
Okay,
value.
yeah.
resort. I'm fine with inns, even small motels like the Colonial and Continental on 44 feet. But those aren't ours. Yeah, that's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah, they're still like, but they're,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they're still small enough that they're not ginormous. I find that those large resorts, like I think that in our area, we already have two giant ones in town.
Yeah.
So if motivated enough could be.
I think we all, I think, just agreed we'll delete the larger scale one.
Yeah, that's.
So-
I'm fine with their in definition.
I don't agree.
And
You
I
wanna
think
say
if
more?
we're limiting it to the business district along 209, I don't know if we look at something like a roadside motel like Starlight, if that meets the qualification.
That's the point I was trying to make, is I don't wanna outlaw things like that.
Yeah, so I think.
I'm happy to
leaving
circle
what-
back on hotels.
do you
The
think
only
that
business
definition
district
of
is
in
North
outlaws Starlight Hotel? I don't think so.
Well, they have a pool. Is that a recreation facility?
Yes.
If someone wanted to
So
make an
that's a
issue of it,
hotel.
the
We can leave it
business
for now,
district
but
is
like-
along 209. If somebody wants to open, now, if we wanted to define it and say, under 50 rooms, under 20 rooms, under 20,000 square feet, you know, we can further define what constitutes that. I just think eliminating it, the business district is all along 209, it doesn't go anywhere else. So. you
I
have
don't think
access-
that, I mean, so I think I think we're talking about two things. One is a large hotel complex, resort thing, moving in and not wanting to encourage that.
We have a resort section, don't we?
I was
Did
just
we remove
looking.
that?
We just deleted it.
We deleted it.
It's still, okay.
Well, hold on, let me see. We deleted the planned. So maybe we need to delete resort. So we have that. The other issue that I heard was, like inns and bed and breakfast can be this like event space, even if we're deleting commercial events facility, they could still be used for like weddings.
You're still allowed to.
Yeah, that's an accessory use.
So,
to a hotel.
I think
That
what-
makes sense when they're.
So I think what the other issue we were trying to say is like the activity around some of the, even if it's a smaller
Mhm.
inn, that can be like an impact.
Yes, yeah.
I think that's what I was
Yeah,
hearing,
that's
those
one
two
good-
things, like there's an impact of these like places where lots of people would come and stay overnight. And there's also an impact to the larger scale ones where it's just like a lot of parking and a lot of
Yeah, it just seems
activity
like
and-
a wasteful, thing to.
So I think that we can reasonably cap it at the amount of rooms, a number of rooms. Or define a category of small scale hotel, motel.
Wait, did we have resorts in there?
There's a definition of resort,
Or what?
a parcel of land or commercial establishment providing lodging, recreation, meals, and entertainment primarily to vacationers, which may also offer the same services to non-registered guests. Primary place of residence, medical or other rehabilitative facility or a single room occupancy residential project shall not be considered a resort. I hear you, Michael, and I'm open to the idea of doing a room limit on the hotel definition instead of doing a room cap on the inns. That I see how that would accomplish, be more likely to accomplish what we want.
And it's only allowed in the business district. Which is
Would you
only,
be open to that?
resorts are allowed in AB3, R5, and B.
So we should change that to only B and then restrict hotels to no more than 50. What's the number?
How many rooms does Starlight?
I think, so let's pause. If we're gonna go this route, we have to create a whole new section of code. Because none of this is in the code, it's just in the definitions and then they're in the use chart. So,
Can we just define resort as over 100 with over 100 guest occupancy rooms?
Starlight has 50 rooms, by the way, so actually that's
With over 50 then.
I think we could eliminate resorts. Because it sounds like.
Oh, yeah, because it's a resort, and so with Pine Ridge, those are the main, it's really resort-esque motels that I'm talking about, I guess. As defined as our code is the larger.
But we could eliminate resorts from all districts. And then allow or change the definition of hotel, or maybe change it to small scale hotels. 50 rooms, we could even say 60 rooms or less. I think we should do some,
too prescriptive. Is getting rid of resort gonna handle the problem?
well, we wouldn't allow resorts, we wouldn't have any more development of resorts. Existing ones would be grandfathered.
Yeah.
if they stopped that use for a certain period of time, then they would not be allowed to. I think I think also, we have a golf course resort.
Oh,
too.
yeah, and I wanted golf course on my list too. Wait, wasn't it? Yeah,
So
sorry.
I'm feeling like this, in terms of like what the nuance with which we're starting to discuss how to regulate this, feels like it's a chapter. And I feel like that's a little bit more than we wanna, like, there's a lot of stuff that we want to like pass in this set. So I'm not sure, I think if there's something that you guys feel strongly about deleting from the use chart, let's do that. But these other ways of thinking about allowing the uses, but creating standards, development standards, we need to like put that in the code. There has to be a chapter or a section.
Yeah,
in
and
the
that's what
code.
I was saying, just delete it from the use is what I'm proposing to
Resort.
resort. To
I'm
be
fine with
deleted
it.
from any district.
And you're
No,
saying
no,
adding
district.
language, to the hotel definitions too. That's changing the substance, so let's skip that, but deleting resort.
I guess I was saying if we're gonna start saying like only hotels of a certain size are allowed, we can't put that in the definition section. It has to,
No, yeah,
that's,
I'm saying, I think
Yeah.
we should just delete it, not allow it in any districts.
I think we remove resorts from R5. We leave it in AB3 and B. We leave it hotels in B. An AV is also going to an, it's just agricultural properties.
I don't have the energy about this anymore, so I'm doing whatever Michael said I'm
Yeah.
fine with, and I will look back at it.
It's
And then we
I
can revisit,
understand
we can
it's-
revisit,
the end of the process, it's not.
still gotta do bills.
Yes.
Okay, but what about camps? Cause that's a thing too, like, there are too many,
I also feel like so many camps of so many varieties.
too many now.
There's no one.
And it looks like you added this whole like section of camps, so again, just deleting. It sounds, a recommendation for just deleting is that,
Well, I think the reason for adding camps was to provide standards, because camps have always been here. New camps are being proposed. So having the standards for the camps was the intent there, so that there's actually something for the building department to use when one is proposed. To say, these are the standards.
and I guess I feel like leaving day camps, because those are gonna serve the local community and make sense. And then the overnight and seasonal camps are the ones that bring in a lot of the issues that the public have been concerned about.
Yeah, so.
And
Can we
of which we
remove
have
them
many.
from the use?
So everyone who's operating can keep operating, and they're still subjected to all of the regulations, but we're
It's just
not
we're not allowing
inviting
any
new-
more uses, any more new use of it.
So it would be deleting overnight and seasonal. From page 14.
I'm just trying to see. You guys can keep talking about it. I'm just, so we had camping resort was the only thing that we had in our code, right?
Right, which was written specifically for the camp resort, my
And
understanding.
seasonal lodging units, no. It's not the same. Camping resort. Camping resort. Yeah, I'm not, I know that there was a reason why we added that section code in.
Which is why I'm not gonna make a huge deal, it's just a recommendation, I wasn't here when this went down, so.
I'm just trying to look at that.
Can't we though just remove them from the schedule and then they're still defined, but they're not in the schedule, so people aren't allowed to do them in any district? Like, we can just remove them, not offer them in any district, even though they're defined?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know,
yeah, do we have to offer them?
if you. I don't know why we would define something and then not put it in any, trying to,
Well, because are those camps, do they exist? They still exist, like the ones that are already operating,
yeah,
so I don't know.
anything that's already operating gets grandfathered in, even if you change standards, if you change regulations.
So then there's value to still having the definition. Cause they're still operating.
We
Right,
just no longer allow them, yeah, because doesn't that
And
still
then
set the
just leaving it
standards and
from
like
the
it's set for the current one?
I'm not actually sure how, like what type of, like, process they go through, because we have like, it's a campground section and a camp resort section.
This thing, can I just say, Erin, like, I know I did it, Emily can chime in for herself too, but I like these few changes, like the campgrounds and then the hotels, like the things that we don't have like definite answers on in this. I am also still like in the capacity of this Pat, like I feel like we've given this a lot of review, like I would like these changes, but it's not gonna prevent me from passing. Like wanting to move forward and do a public hearing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
To you, like I'm happy to also like explore these routes as like.
Yeah, I
later
think
on.
there's some of these questions, like, I wanna make a draft version and then we can do what we were, there's some of these things that I would like to run by our attorney. Who's been on vacation.
Yeah, that's what I
since-
was thinking.
Since this came up, I haven't been able to ask about just any unintended consequences, because I know we very intentionally put some of this stuff in, and I just wanna make sure that we're not somehow having the opposite impact by taking them out. So I think that's just my main.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Okay, so then let's table it and
Yeah.
talk to her about it, but I would say that the question for her should still be limited to deleting so that we can still move forward. You know, that
Yeah.
it's not a major change, that we can still keep on our timeline. And the question for Mary Lou is just what happens if we remove, you know, these seasonal or overnight camps just from the allowed uses?
Yeah, and I think that's also how I'm viewing it. It's not about, I don't wanna be rewriting anything
Yes,
right
I
now.
agree.
So the questions are,
Yeah, I don't wanna rewrite these,
Yeah.
if we have to do that to make it.
and also along those lines, what I was thinking when I was bringing up wanting to talk to her is like, we're gonna be scheduling a public information session and a public hearing. So depending what we do need the version of the law that we are scheduling the public hearing for to be in front of us when we schedule the public hearing. But we can think about that in terms of
How we schedule.
how we
Yeah.
schedule things. So if we want to spend another week, then we could schedule that public hearing to be with the other one a week later. It's the mapping changes are the ones that notifying property owners. We need
Yeah,
like a lot of time, whereas these public hearings are gonna be at the end of August. We have some time.
This one's more fluid, yeah. of the
So,
meeting.
but I wanna close off the issues
Mhm.
tonight so that we are really set about how I really wanna get this passed in August, if we can.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm totally fine with that, with those motels and camps, getting some clarity
Yes.
from Mary Lou on. The only other one I would bring up and ask for entertainment on, I totally understand if you guys just wanna squash me down, is the EEL law. I hate the EEL law. I think it's poorly worded. I think that it's a very hard, confusing process for anyone to go through, and I don't think we need it for our town. Just saying.
And you're
The
recommending
EEO to remove so that EEOs aren't allowed.
which
remove
is
that
the
section.
executive.
The
Economic
economic
interest.
Yep, that. We only have two in town. They'd be allowed to still exist. We just wouldn't allow any more to go through that same process. As someone who went through that whole process with one of the two recently, I just find it the whole lot, like it just
Yeah.
makes a mess of it. But if we don't wanna get into that now, I'm happy to circle back to that later, but just while we're deleting things.
I do
anyone else
not
wants
know
to
enough
entertain me.
about that, so. I'm happy to hear like you guys more about.
Mhm.
Thoughts about why.
Yeah, and these ones that are separate are also easier to, at a different point, get clarity on. If we can just leave, it's an easier to just pull one section out, so. I just wanted to do.
Yeah. Okay, Michael, did we cover your topics? Any other deletion topics? Um, Okay, and then, I think the only thing that we didn't, talk about was, the short-term rental violation escalation.
Which the housing committee like is gonna make comments and suggestions for a short-term rental law on at some point. They're only
For
doing
this
it
or
like
a
that.
separate thing?
As I told them to do it as a separate thing,
Okay.
because we can change it at any time, so that
Okay.
they didn't rush it, so.
Maybe this is making me feel like I wanna get this passed, but I think it'd be really great to get for a separate thing, ask very specifically, like task the housing committee very specifically to address some of the stuff that we're bringing up separately and have that be more comprehensive with like a housing lens. Okay, so I will make the changes that the one additional change, I will, see if we can have I can talk to our attorney about these deletion issues. But I'll have the draft of what we've done so far this weekend, and so we can look at that on Tuesday with whoever's here at that meeting and discuss whether or not we wanna keep it in a little bit of a workshop until we need to, then we'll have it be, the public hearing can be the same night as the map public hearing. So that, right now, we're planning on that being in 2 months, basically, like 2 months from tonight. So that gives us time to get all the clarity on this. And send it to Mary Lou, and let her advise us on how we should do some of this. Okay? Great. So with that, we are moving on 1 hour and 41 minutes on my ambitious schedule to the audit of abstract 6. And I'm going to stop the stream.
Got a lot done though tonight.
We did
We
get a lot
did.
done.
We
Good
did.
job, you guys.
Stacy over time, but that's.